Hey, Alexander, how are you? You are on with Eve and Alyssa.
First of all, I want to say I apologize. I know you guys were talking about me. If you guys wanted to pick the call or not, there is I know on the last call I said something in the last part, but it was directed towards a roach that had just popped up, and I just splattered that.
Hey, Alexander, let's just have this conversation and see how this one goes. I'm more interested in that than trying to figure out if that's how things went or not. I'd just rather have this conversation and see if this one goes well. Yeah, but that's actually not why we were even saying that. Yeah, we'll get to your point. So what did you want to talk about?
Yeah. I like to say, I wouldn't say that to a classic girl like yourself, But anyways.
I hope that you wouldn't say that to anybody. Like, that's why I think it's going to serve you best to not talk about the last call, and let's just focus on the topic at hand, which is what you called about tonight, which is?
All right. I think that the reason why Trump won is because he has less misogynistic characteristics toward his policies.
And you think that most of America was like, we really care about misogyny, so we're going to vote for Donald Trump. We want to end misogyny in America. So right, that's what I'm saying. So you think the majority of Americans, first of all, were like, misogyny is a problem in America, so we want to vote for Trump to fix this. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Cool. So what made you reach that conclusion?
Well, I believe if you're trying to ban abortion rights, you're aiding towards less misogyny itself.
Do you know what the word misogyny means, Alexander?
An attack towards women or something like that.
You might want to know what that word means if we're going to use it the way you're using it right now. It means prejudice towards women.
Prejudice, like examples of being sexist or like having some things you expect of a girl to do, but
prejudice, preconceived opinion, generally negative, that is not based on reason or actual experience.
Yeah, if you have abortion, then you have. If you have abortion, then you're ending a life that could possibly have a potential goal that you're just being negative and killing it.
Sorry, I'm very confused. Are we talking about abortion, or are we talking about whether or not Trump is misogynistic?
Well, both, but I'm directing it towards why he's less misogynistic, because he wants to end it, or he wants to,
So I just don't think if someone is a misogynist, then they are showing a hatred or dislike towards women and a prejudice towards women. And it can also refer to systems or environments where women are facing the actions that are repercussions of the hatred, dislike, or prejudice of women. So when Roe v. Wade was overturned, it meant that states were allowed to decide the abortion care the women in their state would receive. When that happened, that meant that the federal government was saying that on a federal level, we don't believe that this is something that we need to protect. We don't need to protect women's right to choose what they do with a pregnancy. That's not something that we need to protect. And doing that, they also knew that there were states that were going to allow for abortion bans. Trump and his admin knew that by overturning Roe, the goal was, or not the goal, they did that with full consciousness that there were going to be states that were going to make abortion access impossible or extremely, extremely dangerous and lethal for women. And they did it anyway. Does that really sound like a decision that a person would make if they really cared for women?
I don't believe he had it for that reason. But would you say that if you banning against abortion, that's misogynistic?
Yes.
I would say that I don't know that you understand the meaning of the word misogyny. I'm trying to understand if you know actually what misogyny is. Do you understand now what it is now that we've started explaining it to you?
Yeah, I mean, sort of. Is it like an example, like give me an example of misogyny towards men, like what the
that would be called
like
misandry, and it's not. It's a different thing. So sexism. So basically, think about being sexist toward women.
Yes. I pointed that out. Sexism a little before.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm struggling to understand how you think that banning abortion supports your idea that Trump is against misogyny. How is a man making decisions about regulating women's bodies anti-misogyny? We don't have to call it pro-misogyny. I'm just trying to understand how you think Trump is going to help the misogyny problem. And I really don't understand how this relates to abortion.
Maybe I got the abortion part wrong. Like, if it's not directly defined as misogyny, but I mean, there's a lot of cases where I think it's a greater deal of misandry towards men than women. I mean, in this culture, I mean, you got a lot of court cases that appeal to women before men that they've been wrongly accused. They get absolute marriage, for example. It's super towards women. A lot of things are towards women.
Marriage is super toward women. Can you explain what you mean by that sentence?
You got the deal of if anything happens within the marriage, it's the court is going to lean more towards the women. You know what I mean? To take the money, take the kids.
Hold on.
No, that's not true.
First of all, that's just not true.
Both parents have a shared amount of custody over their child right now. As it stands with no-fault divorce, children are 50-50. That no-fault divorce is also part of the Project 2025 plans to repeal, which would go against your argument also.
I also am really confused. You called in saying that you think people voted for Trump because they're worried about misogyny and they want to end misogyny. But now you're saying that we actually don't have a misogyny problem. It's actually men being experiencing prejudice from women. And that's the problem we have. So I feel like you're all over the place. I don't know if you really thought about this before you called. I feel like you didn't even know what the word misogyny means when you called. I'm just really trying to understand this conversation. I'm having a hard time. So walk me through it.
I sort of had to understand what misogyny means, but it was more of like a sexist view, right?
So does America have a problem with misogyny, or do we have a problem with misandry?
I think we have a problem with misandry, actually.
I feel like I'm saying that word wrong, but
I think women have more of a thing to ask of men, right? For them to be at a peak level in order for them to be a possible candidate for a relationship. Like there's this making over $100,000 a year, and then there's a lot of I'm trying to think of the word
most women I know that are married make more money than their partners. So I already don't know what you mean at all.
Yeah, but you said most women. Is that the whole statistic?
Also, listen, Alexander, here's the other thing too. If the only thing that a man is providing in a marriage or a partnership is the money that they put on the table, that's not very much. That can't be the only thing that they're bringing to the table. Whenever that conversation comes into play, I sort of get a are you fucking kidding me? Because women are if this is a partnership where they're going to have children, they're going to carry that child, they're going to do the primary caretaking of that child until they're old enough to like be weaned off of whatever they need directly from a mother. Many times, and if we're talking about like traditional homes, which I assume is sort of the scope that you're thinking of, they're going to be doing cleaning and cooking and general child care. So, and in most homes in the United States, both parents need to be working. So I don't really know why men think that just by paying the bills, like the women also have to be working and also doing everything else. So I don't really know in what way.
Because why would they need to be working if a man can be the sole provider? And that's just how it's been, you know, like.
Because our economy is not really set up for a single income household anymore. It's too expensive. So most people can't really do that anymore.
Can I ask? Well, Alexander, I'm just so interested in what you called in for, which is to say that Trump is not misogynistic, that America cares about misogyny, and so that's why they voted for him. I really am trying to understand why you would reach that conclusion. Do you have a mom or a sister or a girlfriend or something?
Yeah, I have a mom and a girlfriend.
Okay. So if somebody said to your mom or your girlfriend, if they said about her that they could just go up and grab her by the pussy if they wanted, would you feel like that was misogynistic to say?
I mean, if somebody told, like, if someone random told that to my girlfriend, I mean, I don't know the content of his heart. I mean, maybe he respects totally women. And he just says something like a locker room kind of talk. I mean, have you ever used kind of those words on your girl talk?
No, I haven't. No,
never.
I don't talk about other humans like that. It's actually disgusting.
I would never talk about literally anyone ever, like grabbing another human being's body parts. Never.
I feel like men and women are different. That's why we have different mindsets.
Hey, Alexander, back to my questions about Donald Trump. If someone said about your mother that she is not very smart at all and she just goes out and she yaps, and they said this because she's a woman, would you think that that's misogynistic?
Yeah, totally. I would be, yeah. I would be
cool. If your girlfriend's dad said she has a very nice figure, if she weren't my daughter, I'd be dating her, would you think that was appropriate?
Hell yeah.
If your girlfriend's dad said that about his own daughter, that he would date her if she was not his daughter, you're okay
and
with
that she has a nice figure.
Listen, men are visual. I mean, it's nature. What can you do?
Alexander.
So thanks to me, Alexander, is that Donald Trump is a misogynist, and so are you. That's all this call is convinced. Yeah.
I want to also take this opportunity, Alexander, just like for a moment, because I need you to also understand, if your girlfriend's dad said that to your girlfriend and you were in the room, or she even told you about it, you heard it and you said and did nothing, you have abandoned her in a situation where she is profoundly unsafe. You abandoned her in that, because that is not a normal, safe thing for a father to say about a daughter. That's disgusting. And for centuries, we have allowed men to have this like free pass that it's in their nature, and they just say, no, it's a crock of shit. That's not realistic. You've given yourself a free pass to ignore the responsibility of being a human being who is an ally to everyone else. Like, I'm telling you, your girlfriend would absolutely feel unsafe in that situation. And for you to feel like you would be able to be in that room and be like, yeah, brother, and like fist pump her dad, who is openly being
incestuous,
disgusting, incestuous in front of you, that's terrifying. And I feel very scared for your girlfriend.
I heard it wrong. I thought if my dad said that to my girlfriend, but
that's
I
still
heard it wrong.
fucking weird, man.
It's like still weird.
It's still so fucking weird. I just gotta say, I'm not even convinced that this is a serious call. I feel like you're just trolling at this point. You've been all over the place. You haven't been able to stick with your initial argument. I don't even know what your argument is, really. I don't know that I'm interested in continuing the call. And we do have to get to Super Chat. So unless Alyssa has something else she wants to add on, I'd like to get to our last two calls. I don't feel convinced at all that Trump is not misogynistic, which is what it says you called in to say. If anything, I feel like, well, he's very misogynistic and he got misogynistic people to vote for him, and that makes sense. So anything you want to add, Alyssa?
The only thing that I want to...
I'm going to...
The only thing... I don't know what you said, but the only thing that I want to add is it sounds like, I don't know, you're like coughing and whatever. It sounds like you're just like smoking weed or whatever. And like, that's fine. Go off. But this is like, you have to be a little more clear-headed. Like, you have spent 16 minutes of our time, and a portion of several minutes of that time was us trying to determine if you knew what the word misogynistic was. And that was a word that you used. So like, on top of the things that you did say, frankly, being shitty, I also don't really feel like you called in good faith. And so I think we should just drop the call, because I'm not really interested in hearing what he has to say in response to that.
Yeah.
That was just like so totally disingenuous. Also,
is he the guy that did call and called me a bitch at the end of the phone call? That's who that was?
Yeah, I think that's what he was
trying to say. There was a roach that walked. I
don't believe that for a fucking second.
No,
get out of here.
Not for 1 second. And he still took the call. That's fine.
Good.
Yeah,
not
that's
for
a good idea.
Second. That guy sucks. His girlfriend should dump him.
Dude,
if
his girlfriend is watching this for some reason,
dump him.
Please, for your own sake. I don't know how I feel like this kid must be young. I feel like you might be young. You have life to live. Don't waste it on boys like this. You deserve so much.
He just straight up said that he would not care.
He said he would high five his dad.
Yeah, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. You, Alexander's girlfriend, deserve more than that. You deserve more respect than that. Also, before he said he had a girlfriend, which I'm suspicious about the girlfriend, before he said he had a girlfriend, us in the chat, we were all just going incel, 100%. Like, there's no fucking way. So I don't even believe that he has a girlfriend, if I'm being so honest. But if he does, God, I hope she leaves.
Yeah, yikes. That was... big yikes.
Thank you for watching that clip. If you enjoyed it, perhaps you should join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
At patreon.com/calltheline.